window down, yelling out money, anything. Ayy, ooh, got the foot on the gas, pedal to the metal when I'm getting to the back. Ayy, got the foot on the gas, pedal to the metal when the lane moving fast. Ayy, ayy, let them all cross. If they hate, then let them hate and make a bigger boss. Ayy.
Hey guys, before we jump into the episode, I wanted to let you know it is brought to you by the NMFTA. Let me ask you a question. Do you ship LTL freight? Then listen up, because the NMFC changes went live on July 19th, and they're the biggest updates in the history of freight classification. Now more than ever, accuracy matters. That's why carriers, shippers, and brokers alike are turning to Class IT Plus, the NMFTA's new digital platform for real-time NMFC data. Stop guessing, start classifying smarter, and quote freight with confidence. It's time to get your ship together because the NMFC changes are already here. Learn more at nmfcchanges.com and get started with Class IT Plus at classitplus.com. Just do me a favor and let them know that the Freight Coach sent you. This episode is brought to you by SPI Logistics, the premier freight agent logistics firm in North America. For over 40 years, SPI has been diligently building the most successful freight agent network to provide first-class relationships for our shippers, receivers, and carrier partners. We are more than another transportation network. We are a dedicated team of professionals united by one singular purpose, and that is to expedite our agents' success. All of our agents are set up for success on day one, as they are provided with a full suite of support staff that is ready to assist them with everything from after-hours emergencies to financial and administrative needs on a no-fee basis. This way, you can focus on continuing to grow your business. There is no financial risk to start, and you have the ability to earn up to 75% in commissions. If you are looking to take control of your financial future and build your business with the backing of one of the most successful logistics firms in North America, visit www.spi3pl.com to learn more. Do me a favor and let them know that the Freight Coach sent you. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back. We are live. It's the Freight Coach Podcast, the top podcast in transportation, coming to you guys every single weekday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to break down some industry headlines. But most importantly, you guys provide some actual insight into what you can do with all of this information. This is your first time tuning in. Welcome. This is the real side of freight, ladies and gentlemen. And I do say that before every single show. And what I mean by that is I only speak with transportation professionals, because at the end of the day, I want to talk to the right individuals who have done what you're looking to do or who are currently doing what you're trying to achieve, so you can take that information, apply it, utilize it, and see a meaningful difference in your business and your life. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Sorry we're a couple minutes late here. I'm not a tech company or a media guy. I just literally hit restart on my computer every single time when shit doesn't work out, because that's just the only way I know how to do it. But we got it back up. We're running here, and we are going to be doing the reefer freight market report out there. And we are going to be talking about the mid-season produce update. And like anytime I talk about produce or the reefer market, I got my good friend Cody Koehler on the show with A&Z Trucking. So Cody, thank you so much for taking the time to join me here today.
Chris, I'm having a hard time, buddy. I cannot hear you.
Uh-oh. See, we're having tech issues here. Let's see. I can hear you all right, Cody. Did that come through? He's not hearing me.
Lovely, buddy. Doesn't want to work on my phone and doesn't want to work on my laptop this morning. I'm going to jump off really quick and jump right back in.
Cool. Yep. All right. Well, this is the realities of doing everything, you guys. We can just do a couple of quick announcements here. Today was the release of the Freight Coach newsletter. Again, it comes out once a week, you guys, just on Wednesdays. It's all freight related. We talk rates, we talk cyber tips, fuel prices, industry updates, everything. But I don't auto sign my contact list up to that, because frankly, I get annoyed when people do that on my end. So if you want to get in on it, you guys, go to thefreightcoach.com. It will auto prompt you to register for it. Again, it just drops once a week out there. But let's pull Cody up here. He just jumped back in to see if it works. Cody, can you hear me now?
I can. Can you hear me?
There we go. Now we got it
Love
going.
It. Right?
Amateur podcasters. Here we go.
Right? Love it. Wednesday morning can't get any better, right?
Well, dude, as long as our trucks are picking up on time, I think everything else works out for us.
Agreed for sure. There's always technical difficulties in my life, so.
Yeah, I hear you there, man. So, dude, what's going on out there, man? What's happening in produce? What's the next hot market? What's hot out there right now? What's going on?
Ah, man, this has been a fun summer for sure, man. I mean, it's been a fun year, right? I mean, this
Yeah.
really hasn't been the norm. You can't really, I mean, the seasonality's just been out the window this year. So if I was running a reefer and I was looking for produce, man, I would just make sure I'm always back in California right now. California outbound's crazy right now.
Yeah.
I mean, if you guys pay attention to anything the Dean posts, you can see that, reefer rates out of California are, I mean, everything's over $3 a mile. It's up substantially from last year. So
I was going to say, Cody, ironically that you say that, we are I saved you for This Week in Freight, powered by my friends over at DAT. It's funny you brought up Dean and everything as well, because we're going to be doing a reefer lane breakdown, and it is ironically Salinas, California, going out to Columbus, Ohio. And dude, so like one of the first things I noticed here, hold on, I got to change this background so we can get this up here for everybody to see. Dude, one thing I noticed outside of the fact that, and this is kind of par for the course on every lane that's out there right now, Cody, is like, obviously rates are elevated, but if you're looking at the macro trend year over year, the seasonality is kind of following par for the course, at least for like when things are spiking out here. Now, it does look like things have obviously climbed up out here out of California, and it does go right in line with spikes in fuel and what was going on in Iran and everything. But like, what do you think if you're looking at this right now and it's continuing to climb out there? What is the main driver of that kind of behind the scenes?
I don't know. This week has definitely been different. Typically you're going to see the week after the 4th for produce, at least out of California, kind of have a cliff, right? It kind of comes down, it eases up a little bit. Sales kind of dwindle a little bit, but we haven't seen that the last 2 weeks. I'm hearing a lot of chat. I know that it's safety check week out there, which is different than DOT Blitz, right? But it is still a week that capacity could be affected. There's a lot of trucks that just don't want to run when there's like 3x the amount of police officers out this week or something looking for unsafe driving. I think that's what the numbers that I keep getting told. So I don't really know. I mean, rotation's always an issue too, especially when you're running long haul, like coast to coast. Rotation after a holiday is always off for about 2 weeks. Because all those drivers that sit over the weekend, we happen to have it on a Saturday this year. So a lot of people took that Friday off, right? All those trucks enter the market again on Monday after everybody's partied and sober and having a good time and everything else. And then you kind of get this flood of trucks, but then your rotation's off because all those trucks that should have been, picking up on Thursday, Friday and going over to the East Coast or whatever, they're not coming back. And so it's been an interesting couple weeks. This is not acting like a normal July. July starts to ease up usually for freight, and then August and September kind of ho hum. Honestly, you get your Labor Day pull, which isn't usually that big, but it's always kind of been like the big run up is Memorial Day to the 4th for produce, and then after that you kind of eases up. But we're not seeing that this year, so the capacity crunch is real out there, and anybody who thinks that it's not, you should probably get your head out of the sand.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of potential for capacity to kind of tighten up even more in regards to, I just broke an article down about this on, I think it was Monday, that ICE is now at scale houses looking for ELP violations and non-domiciled, essentially illegal CDLs, because I think this is the thing. And, and obviously we talk offline a lot, Cody, but like the thing that pisses me off so much about media is they're trying to blend the non-domiciled drivers with the illegally obtained CDL drivers. They're trying to loop them all into one thing, and it couldn't be further from the truth out there. So it's like, I think that's another big driver that you're seeing. And again, I think a lot of it goes down to how many operators potentially were not above board who were driving down the freeway and they were able to accept loads and everything like that. Do you see the state of California removed, I think, like 14 or 15,000 CDLs earlier this year? Do you think that's a main driver or a potential factor in why the rates are spiking and continue to elevate out of California?
Oh, absolutely. I definitely think it's a factor. I think it's a blend of quite a few things, but I think that that's a major factor with what's going on.
Mhm.
Especially, reefers were disproportionately affected by that ruling. There was a
Really?
lot of, yeah, there was a lot more reefer carriers that were um, immigrants, right?
Yeah.
There's a big immigrant community in the Fresno, Salinas, Monterey Valley, that area, as well as Washington. You and I have talked a million times. There's a big immigrant population, and they all came over here, right? With the promise. A lot of them came over like in the 80s, right? And now it's their kids that are running this, and the American dream. Come get a truck. You're your own boss, and they did it the right way. But there are some bad actors out there, right? That definitely bent the rules for sure, and they paid the price, and now I think that the market's paying the price for sure.
Do you
But
think? Oh, yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, I'm also hearing a lot. I mean, you move a lot more flatbed, heavy haul, all the industrial stuff than we do. Obviously, that's your bread and butter. So I'm also hearing a lot of guys that are pulling drivers off of dry vans and reefers and throwing them on flatbed. Because flatbed's at an all-time high, isn't it, right now?
Yeah, for the most part, it's pretty high across the board, but it's very sporadic, right? Like
Hmm.
again, we don't necessarily play the spot market like the traditional broker. At the end of the day, we work very hard to keep our loads off of the load board. I'm not going to say we're
Hmm.
100%, dedicated carriers on every single load, but like we're up to like 85 to 90% of our freight is pre-booked with the same carriers repeatedly. And again,
Nice.
and I was talking about this the other day as well, where we're not paying very much below market, but like our drivers have specifically told us, like, hey, I could get more money out there if I wanted to, but I know what we get with you. We know the loading times and unloading times at all of the facilities we're pulling, and you guys pay us fast. So they're like, it's
Yeah.
not worth the allure of additional money. So it's like, again, and again, I want to be clear, we're not paying like $1,000 below market or anything like that, but they are taking it below market for when we do have to go out to the open market. And I think that you could see, and this is why I hate when people look at the national average and make pricing decisions based on that, because if we're looking at Salinas to Columbus, Ohio right now, I guarantee every driver out there knows that there are loads, and you could probably see them posted for $10,000,
Mhm.
$11,000 on this lane, but they're going to work with their core brokers who have the systems down. They have that comfort down. And all the factors that I'm describing right there is it's like, hey, yeah, it might be a little bit below market, but the customers load you fast. The shippers load you fast. Receivers unload you
Mhm.
fast. And you pay me fast.
Yep.
So it's like all of those factors come into it, because it's not always about which load pays the most out there, because it might not all be what it seems.
Oh yeah, and I mean ease of working with people, right? Like people work with people that they like, and people work with people who make their lives easier. So
Yeah.
the quick payment, we actually run quite a bit into Ohio, and our customer over there is known for less than 2 hours. You're in the door, you're out the door, right? They want you. They're a nighttime receiver. So that's an easier lane for us. It's very easy to sell that when you have good partners like that, and then of course, payment terms, and then easy to set up, stuff that's in the background, easy to set up tracking, easy to invoice, right? The last thing a driver wants to do is have to stop and take an hour to upload the PODs and upload the BOLs and upload their invoice. If you have all that stuff in the background taken care of, that is very attractive to drivers, because drivers get paid to move, right? They
Yeah,
don't get paid to do that bullshit in the background. And it's not really bullshit, because obviously you have
for
to do
sure.
that for us to get paid, and for them to get paid. But the easier you can make it to work with with you as a company, the more attractive it's going to be, the better rates you're going to get, the more buy-in from these drivers who are just going to want to stay in your network, right?
Yeah.
That's the whole point.
Dude, and that's it, right? And I think like if you're looking at this and rates rising out of California and everything else, you can insulate your customers from the volatility.
Hmm.
And I think that's just a major miss by a lot of brokers out there. And, as Cody said, and we're going to kind of wrap this up here quick, and then we'll continue talking about this topic, but get your trucks in California for a reefer carrier. As Cody
Yep.
says, these rates are up and they're going to continue to stay up out there. But again, you guys, that's This Week in Freight, powered by my friends at DAT. If you want your lane broken down on the show, email my team, podcast@thefreightcoach.com, and we will do just that. But again, you've been through a lot of market shifts in the past, Cody. I've been through market shifts. Nothing I'm seeing, I was talking about this on yesterday's show as well. Nothing I'm seeing right now is an anomaly. But I think what is getting people caught up in a lot of the volatility of non-domiciled CDLs, like every headline that you see out there is they're running and gunning. And what I mean by that is they're posting and praying for every single load. And especially now, like I'm seeing reports, which if you watch this show, I told you this at the beginning of all of this, brokers are going to get crushed during this market shift because there will reach a point when customers are not going to pay any more money. They are done. They're going to reach that proverbial ceiling. There's early reports that that's kind of happening out there right now, but you got to insulate your customer from this because, again, the spot market carrier might be quoting you $15,000 on that Salinas to Columbus lane, but that carrier you've been working with time and time again, they're like, nah, continue to send it over at that. We got our dedicated freight out of Ohio or wherever that lane is getting us back. We're good. Like we have insulate, and that's what you need to work for right now. It's not sexy. It's not going to get you any clicks on social media. So, but it's like, that's the effective way and efficient way to operate right now.
100%. And even in a down market, man, that's the best way to operate, right? Because at the end of the day, it increases your service level. The better care you take of your drivers, even if you're, in a down market, sometimes you got to pay a little bit more than market if the market's, really down, to take care of your carriers. Because if your carriers go out of business, like, let's be real, you and I aren't holding the wheel. Like, we got to get people to do the job, right? And that's what, you got to take care of your carriers. You got to have the brokerage game is difficult. I came from, I think I've mentioned this several times. I was on the shipper side for 13 years, and it was eye-opening when I came over to the brokerage side, because brokers were like a 4-letter word when I was a shipper, right? Because I was getting 300 calls and emails a day from people. They were definitely doing their outreach. So kudos to all those guys. But like, it's tough because it's a double sell. You got to take care of your customer and you got to take care of the carrier.
Yes.
We're the middleman, and if you're only focusing on taking care of one or the other, you're not going to be successful in this game.
Yeah. No, I agree with that, right? And I think and then you pair that up with how hard it is to onboard business, right? Like new customers, new shippers, whatever you want to call them internally. It's hard enough to onboard all of them. I don't understand the methodology of grabbing a load and then just like rinsing carriers in the sense of like, let's just get it cheaper. Let's try and get it cheaper. Let's try and get it cheaper. Like, again, everybody's got to make money. And ironically, I think a lot of brokers fail to realize shippers understand you got to make money. Like they get all of that. But for me personally, it's like, what is that fine line? And there's going to be times where you're going to have to wear it. You're going to have to break even, maybe lose a little bit. But you can find that sweet spot, whether it's 12%, 14%, whatever profit margin you actually are gunning for out there, where it's like, once you find that, stay there. All right. Like, I know there's an allure. Let's try and make more money. It's not right now. It's not in any market, but it's especially not the time to start doing stuff like that.
Yeah, make your money at scale. That's the brokerage game, right? Like, if you can find a good margin and you get good carriers on the lane, don't mess it up. Like, don't screw that shit up. If they've got good communication, good on-time pickup, good on-time delivery, you don't hear any complaints from your customers, like, leave it alone. Get your margin set, take care of the carriers. It's been that way whether the market's up or down. Like, you are only as good as your last load, and you want to make sure that your last load was perfect. Like, that's the whole name of the game, right?
No, dude, I completely align with you on that one. What is something you're seeing out there in the reefer space right now from a new business development standpoint, right? Where are, obviously without mentioning any names, what's the sentiment out there? Is it because, like, what I'm seeing, you see all the craziness of the headlines of like, oh, the flatbed market's going gangbuster, everything else out there. I mean, new business development is still kind of flat overall, right? Like, we're growing with our existing customers, but new business development is still the exact same objections and rejections that we were receiving when capacity was exponentially loose.
Same. I mean, I got to hand it to at least the customers that we work with, is they are trying to keep incumbents on stuff, and they are trying to work on rates. It's a weekly discussion most of the time, to be honest with you. And there's always spot opportunity. Ken Adamo had a great blurb this morning on LinkedIn about the difference between how brokers are making money on contract and spot.
Yes.
Most, definitely if you're too contract heavy right now, you're getting crushed.
Yes.
And then obviously when the market flips, if you're all on the spot board, you don't have a job when the market flips.
Yeah.
So, the balance is finding those carrier or those customers where you can have some contracted freight, you're taking care of the customer, but then you also have opportunities with the spot market, right? I think rejections from what I saw from Craig this last week are still hovering around like 17%. Obviously, certain areas are seeing higher rejections, but nationally 17%, which is pretty high.
Yeah.
Compared to what, a broker who didn't come in during COVID or ran through COVID, you and I saw 40% rejections, but, somebody coming in 2 years ago is like 17%. What the hell, right? But finding that balance. But yeah, I don't see a ton of movement out there. I mean, we're still onboarding customers, but it's not at a clip like it was during COVID. During COVID, you could make 10 calls, you get 8 of them to pick up, and you probably sign up 2 customers a day,
Yeah.
But now I haven't seen a major uptick. A lot of customers are saying the same thing, like, hey, we're still working with our incumbent carriers. We're trying to take care of them. And kudos to them.
Yeah.
I appreciate that as a broker. I mean, I know it sucks for my sales team. My sales team's probably cursing at me in the background, but, but kudos to them. We're kind of in the same boat too. We are still seeing double digit like growth with our internal customers already. Like, that's great. I think the opportunities are still there, and there are still failures, right? But at least with the customers we work with, if a broker or carrier is failing on lanes, they're typically offering it up to the carriers that they're already working with.
Yeah. I haven't seen any new providers on with some of the shippers that we're working with, right? Because they do kind of, when they do reach out to, for a recovery aspect, they do include all of their providers at that time. And yeah, I haven't seen any new ones on there. But like, again, I think that with when you're operating, again, because like I'm constantly looking at our sales process, right? Like that's been, the thing that I like literally have banged my head against the wall the most with here is it's like, what am I doing wrong? Like, because the way that I'm developing business is how I have always developed business in my career. And it's just not as effective as it once was, even pre-COVID and everything like you're describing, during COVID, how it went, like pre-COVID to now, it's exponentially different. So it's like, I'm constantly assessing our sales cadence. What are we doing? What information are we sending? How can we stay present for that moment when they are kind of like, all right, I'm done. I got to add somebody new here. Who's the next person up? And, again, it's like, I feel like you can utilize multiple channels now that you once weren't able to use, right? So it's like, I look at it where, we have lead generation software that's out there. Some of what I think is some of the best stuff I've seen, and then I am utilizing LinkedIn. I am utilizing multiple channels to kind of just stay in front of them. And I think that's a cadence that I think everybody could apply to their business, right? Where it's like, hey, when you find out, if you cold call a place and they're like, you got to talk to Tim Johnson or whatever, go to the company's LinkedIn profile, find Tim Johnson, connect with them on there.
100%.
Don't send them a DM like, hey man, I can move all your freight, but go out there and start positioning, utilize your content to add value to to your network, your connections, but the industry as a whole. And I think people will gravitate towards you.
Oh yeah, I actually had a discovery call on Monday with a potential new customer, and right out of the gates, like he'd already looked me up on LinkedIn. Right out of the gates, he said, "Only reason I'm having this phone call with you is because you handle multi-pick and multi-drop stuff."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Yeah, hey, yeah, that's our bread and butter." So, yeah, LinkedIn's a great tool. I don't post near as much as I used to, and I need to get back to that, but it is a great tool. I love that sales tactic. Find them on LinkedIn. I like to have like a month to 6 weeks of like a baking period for them to absorb your content, right? And to see that you're actually an expert. You're not just somebody who got a job a week ago and has a sales quota to meet. You're actually somebody who can move their freight and add value to their network. And that's the most important thing. If you're not adding value, I don't care where we're at in the sales cycle. I mean, I've got a major customer of ours they're around probably 20 billion in sales. I'm not going to mention their names, but on the produce side, January, they had 26 carriers in there. They're down to 19. So
Damn.
they keep trimming it down, and that's opportunity for all of us. But if you're not adding value, other than just saying I can cover your load, they're still getting rid of people. They're
Yeah.
still getting rid of the carriers who can't maintain their KPIs, right? So um, I'm not seeing a major shift. There's always opportunities, like you and I was talking. There's always a bull market somewhere, like good old Kramer says. But um, I think that LinkedIn is such an underutilized tool for salespeople. I agree 100%, though. The most annoying thing in the world is when I get somebody who wants to, link up on LinkedIn, and immediately, as soon as I hit accept, right out of the gates, I get a copy and paste. Oh,
Yeah.
this, and this. That is the most annoying thing in the world. Let them absorb your content. Let them know that you're a human. It's not going to be a copy and pasted email message, and let them see that you're an expert at what you're doing.
Yeah. Dude, it's funny. I've had a rise in people commenting on my YouTube clips about how this is just AI slop. And I'm like, who the fuck's going to pay for an avatar of a 40-year-old dude with a receding hairline? Like, who the fuck's going to pay for that avatar of all things, right? But no, it is, man. I look at it in today's environment where you need to, the faster you can prove you're an actual person, because that AI slop, the pitch slaps, whatever people want to call them, the copy and paste aspect of things. I think, I was talking to somebody about this yesterday who's going to be coming on the show here in a couple of weeks, but I'm like, with all of the automation and AI push that's out there, I think the real long-term play is going to be showing you're an actual human being in as fast of a way as possible. Because to every AI dialer, bro, that I've had on the show, that I've vetted, that hasn't come on the show, because they can never answer this one simple question to me. What is your response for when all of our prospects have a bot answering the phone, and then it's bot-to-bot communication and there's no progress made? What is the response at that time? And none of them can answer that. And again, I get it. It's a problem that a lot of people haven't been faced with yet, but that's where my mind goes with a lot of this, right? I'm not thinking about where we are today. I'm thinking about where are things going to be in 12 months from now or 2 years from now. And I think there is going to be a massive push back to offline communication, i.e., because guys like us, man, like people our age are in that decision maker role across multiple businesses and industries now. I think a lot of us are getting, at least I'm only going to speak for myself. I want to talk to an actual human being. All right. Like, that's why I do cold calling, bro, because I'm like, at least if they hang up on me, I know that it's a fucking person doing it.
Right. Yeah. Oh, I agree 100%. I mean, and like I always say, the best thing you can do is get in front of somebody, right? Like the face to face, anything that you can do to just get people to realize that you're a human, and you're also not like, I'm not going to throw their name out there, but everybody knows who they are. They start with a T and end with a L. When I was on the shipper side, I would get 20 reps from that brokerage a day that would call me. And I'm like, bro, there was somebody that just called me 10 minutes ago. So like, I still, crazy story. I haven't been at that shipper that I worked at for almost 10 years now. I still get cold calls saying, oh, hey, you're listed as the logistics manager for this company. And I'm like, bro, you got to update whatever lead gen you're doing. But these guys are, and they're still big brokerages. I'm talking big name brokerages, big box guys. And I'm like, what the hell, like, kudos to you for trying to make your quota, but like, do some research first.
A little bit goes a long way, man. It's
right.
I was going to
Crazy
say,
out there.
so what's something, for people out there who, they might not have the budget to go fly somewhere, right? So a two-part question. For if you do have it in your budget to go fly somewhere and go meet up with somebody, how soon is too soon to ask for the site visit? And then if you don't have the budget to do that, what is something you would recommend people could do to kind of stand out a little bit to show that you are a real person?
So answer the first one. I honestly don't think it's too soon for anything. I've had success on, we went and met a shipper over in Bakersfield. Actually, this was like 2 years ago. We met with them 6 months before we ever moved their first load. We had talked to the logistics manager, and he just kept bringing up how like state of the art facility was and all this stuff. And we were like, well, this is cool. Like, let's go see this and make some content about it, right? And he's like, sure. So we went over, did a big tour with him. took us 6 months to move a load with him, but
Yeah.
we spent, had lunch with him and spent the day with him, and it was really cool to see their citrus shipper, to see just how far along it's come to create, to box and wash and all that fun stuff for oranges. It's pretty cool. And then on the opposite end, I've had customers that I've worked with for 2 years that just didn't allow site visits until, a certain point. And so I think the ask, though, I think never hurts to ask. Always just drop, I know you always bring it up, like, we're here in the valley, just drop in. There's nothing there's no harm in it, right? But I think it goes a long, long way to be able to have like that one-on-one conversation with somebody, and that they actually know who you are, and you're not just, you don't want them to feel like they're a number. I bring up the 20 calls from the one brokerage because I knew at that point in time I was just a name on a list, right?
Yeah.
They didn't know anything about my freight. They never came with a sales pitch that had value add. They didn't know my background. They didn't know anything about the background of the company. I was just a name on a list with a title. And you got to separate yourself from those people.
Yeah.
And then, so two, remind me what the second part
If
of that
you
question
don't have
was.
it,
If you don't have the budget,
yeah.
one, don't ever be afraid to hop on teams.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of people who are like I don't want to be on camera and shit like that, whatever. Like you're not cut out to be in sales if that's the case. I think teams can go a long way so that they can actually see who you are. I get a lot of comments, good and bad, because I'm such a Yankees fan, in the background. So if I hop on teams, if they're a Yankees fan, immediately it's great. But I would say probably 60 to 70% of the time, it's what the hell are you doing? What is that stupid shit? Because there's so many haters out there, but it still sparks up a conversation, right?
Yeah.
It's still that like banter back and forth that isn't business related. I love Wolf of Wall Street, and I love one of the best scenes I think out of there is when they go over to what is it, Switzerland, and they're talking to that banker, and they're saying that the first 5 minutes of every conversation is you have to have banter back and forth, don't talk business. I think that's actually huge. Like you get some people that are just black and white; they want to talk about business right out of the gates. I like to take that first 10 minutes and talk about, we live in Phoenix. One of the easiest comments that I always get is, well, what's the weather like down there? Once they find out I'm in Phoenix, right? And it's, last week was 117. What do you think? It's July in Phoenix, right?
Yeah.
But everyone wants to talk about that. Oh my God, everybody says it's a dry heat and whatever you can to just bring some personality to the conversation and bring something that's not just transactional. I say focus on that. If you can't get out and get people, get them on the phone as much as you can. Get them on a Teams call as much as you can. Figure out how you can get personal with those guys. LinkedIn is a great tool. Hop on LinkedIn, find out what a lot of people post stuff about their special interests outside of work, anything like that. Do your research, though. You don't want to be one of those 20 reps calling somebody and having that other person on the end of the phone know that you're just a name and a title.
Yeah. I literally think the best investment anybody can make if they don't have a big budget is a LinkedIn premium account. It's like $180 for the year because you do get those additional insights that are out there. I don't pay for Sales Navigator. I just don't think it's worth it. But I use the LinkedIn Premium. You do get additional features in there. And for me, it's the best. And again, if you don't know, search logistics, search transportation, search supply chain under the people tab of the company, and a list of individuals will come up at that point. And then just start there, right? Like I think there's a lot of free tools. And as budget becomes bigger for you to utilize, I'm a big CRM guy now. Shout out Sales Dash. I use them.
Same here.
Use Sales Dash. I use lead generation software. I use a company called Optimus. Again, I'm trying to use additional data and insights to further separate myself out there. And then again, another really good thing, as much as I shit on AI, you guys, Gemini, you can use their free tool and you can train it. And this is what I did for like 6 months. I trained it to create a logistics profile about all of my leads. Okay. So, qualifying questions to ask, do that, utilize that stuff just to separate yourself just a little bit further. And I think it's going to go a long way, but, I appreciate your time, Cody, as always, man. Your insight's invaluable out there. How does anybody reach out to you to find out more?
LinkedIn's the best way. If not, you can just hop on our website, and any message that flows through there is going to go directly to me. But yeah, LinkedIn definitely.
Perfect. Cody, I appreciate it. That's going to be it for today, ladies and gentlemen. As always, if you got value in what you heard and you're not subscribed, subscribe to the show, you guys. And if you're feeling ambitious, rank it on iTunes and Spotify, because if you see value, your network's going to see it as well. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys, and we'll be talking to you soon.
Came back with a bang. Window down, yelling out money, anything.